Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. As you know, you have been given an assignment of software requirement specification document, and you people asked me few questions. There were few queries, so I am recording this clip so that you may get most of the answers of your questions. And if still there are any query, then you may ask me. So I'm taking this example of a chat application. So it is a very brief but comprehensive example with the help of which you can understand how you can make that software requirement specification document. You all know that when we are doing the requirement analysis, requirement gathering and requirement analysis, in fact we call it requirement engineering. So I taught you we go for the inception, in which we get very basic questions that who are the users, who are the stakeholders, and then we start knowing about the project, and then different functionalities of the project, then requirements. So data requirement, functionality requirement, behavior requirement. So now with the help of this example, we will try to find out if we have gathered all the requirements, then how we will have to put them in this format, right? There are so many formats and there are so many headings that you will find on the internet, so you can use any, but I am giving you the example as it is a very easy example that will give you some idea that how you can start with. So let's start with it, that our software requirement specification document will have a proper title, your name, your reg number, and the version. Obviously it would be version number 1, right? Because it would be the first document and I have not asked you to make any change in it. So now let's start. There would be some heading 1.1, 1.2, right? But it is a simple document, so I'm just telling you about the contents. But you can check on the web that how they are making the table of content, then giving the heading 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So say I just call it 1.1, introduction. So in fact in this document I am giving the in the introduction I'm telling about my required application. So now check, this document details the project plan for the development of eChat. Remember, eChat is the software for which this SRS is being prepared, right? So here your project name will appear, right? For example, customer management system, seat reservation system, depending upon what you are doing. Then it is intended for developers, designers and testers working on eChat, as well as project investors. That means in fact we are telling about the intended audience, right? That means for whom this document will be useful, for whom it will be required. So we are telling them that the developers will require this software, this document, designers will require that, testers will require that, and also the investors and the users, right? The person who is investing money, or who is asking us to make the software. So now what does that document will tell? So in this document we will tell how the system will function, the scope of the project that I told you in the class, that we define that we will do this and this and this, and not any other thing other the specified or bounded scope of the software. Then the technology used to develop the project, again in which language, at which platform we are going to make that software. For example, you are new in it, so I will just simply say that we will use the Visual Studio, we will use some DBMS or some database tool, right? So very simple that we are going to tell about the technology. The metrics used to determine the project progress. So we make a chart in which we define that when we will be done with the project requirements, then planning, then designing, then coding, then testing, and then deployment. So in fact we normally make the Gantt chart or other charts with the help of which we can define that when we will be able to complete which phase of the software process model, and then overall description. So now check what we are giving in the introduction and what it has given us. Companies need remote communication tools, especially now that more people are working from home, right? So now it is describing about or providing us the introduction for his application. as he is making some e-chat application. So he is just giving us the starting point that now the companies, he's not talking about the general people. That means he is going to make that e-chat for the companies, that application for the companies, not for the ordinary general market. So now check, companies need remote communication tools, especially now that more people are working from home. The problem is that, listen, here it is also telling us about the problem statement. The problem is that most companies end up using multiple application to accomplish this. That means somebody is using, for example, WhatsApp, somebody is using maybe Teams, somebody is using maybe some other tool, Skype. So they want to tell us that there is a problem that everybody is using the different application. So for example, I'm using simple SMS for the chats, and then for the video chat I'm using some other tool. So e-chat, now he is telling us about the application that he is going to develop, that e-chat will solve this problem by combining these function in one application. So now he's telling us that in fact there is a problem that for different kind of communication, when we are talking to each other we are using one application. When we are having the video chat, then we are going to use some other application. When we need video conferencing, many people in a same call, in that case again we are going to use the third application. So that was a problem statement. And now what he is telling us, he is telling us his proposed application will solve this problem by giving us the simple text messages, the voice call, the video conferencing. So everything will be there. So now the next thing is customers. So now it seems that in fact he is not making it for the normal people, ordinary people, general public. So now the customer will be enterprise companies. So that means the persons or the companies will buy this software and they will use it. That means he has very much clear idea about the clientage, about the users. So he knows that in fact the customer will be the big companies, enterprise level companies, right? So, and it will not target the general, right, it will not target the general public. That means that it is not an ordinary application like we are using WhatsApp or some other thing. It will be specific for the companies that are working at higher level and that have hundreds of employees in it, right? So that it has given us about some information about the customers. Then it is talking about the functionality, what that software will do. So as I told you, you will give me few components. That component A, for example, I gave you the typing editor. So now you will describe that there will be a module, there will be a component of typing related, right, tool, and that will provide us the facility to write or erase, that means delete, right, or to copy or to paste. So in fact what you are doing, you are describing the first module and then you are giving me like these lines, few functionalities of that module. Then you will tell me about the second module, that is spell checkers and grammar, and then you will write down few lines for the spell checker and for the grammar, right? So in this manner you can play with it, you can write down your modules and the functionality that that module will provide us. But as it is a complete application and it is giving us all the functionalities what a user will be able to do, so let's read it out. User should be able to sign up with enterprise LDAP accounts, right? So now in fact user will be given some logins and they will in fact get registered, right? They will get registered on that application. User should be able to create ad hoc chat groups comprising sets of users and send private messages to individual users. The second functionality would be the user will be able to make the groups, right? And those would be ad hoc groups that can be deleted later on. And also not only the groups, they can also chat individually. So the way